Hi, this is a video response to Andrea Whitman's video recently that he's made on the initial resistance. Now, I'm also going to discuss or just talk about the initial resistance and what I have experienced for myself, what it is. If you look at the initial resistance, it is always there, kind of like you don't want to do something. It doesn't matter if it's dishes, doesn't matter if it's writing, it doesn't matter if it is going somewhere that you don't really want to go, or if it is a task that you haven't learned to enjoy it. There's always this initial resistance that is quite persistent within our experience, and also how this initial resistance most of the time will win. How the initial resistance most of the time gets to have the say. Like, because I'm experiencing this resistance, it means I must probably not do it, or it probably means I shouldn't go there, or it probably means something. We always think of some excuses, justifications on why the initial resistance gets to be the deciding factor. Instead of realizing that the initial resistance is showing us that we're moving out of our usual daily patterns, we're moving outside of our usual pre-programming. And therefore, resistance within common sense, first of all, what you're going to do, and self-honesty, is a good thing. It's showing you that this is your creational path, because there is resistance. And resistance is showing that it's not the usual path. It's not something that you just easily go and do, like watching TV or go watch a movie. You know, all the things that are usually fun and positive don't usually have a resistance. But the things that we're not used to and we don't do every day, where it takes a change within ourselves, there's always this initial resistance. And even if we do something for many years, there's always this experience of an initial resistance. For example, when I was working at a previous job, there was always a initial resistance towards going out and seeing people. So this showed me that there's still something within me that's not in alignment with how I'm applying my change. So the resistance is always feedback. It's always showing us feedback and how we physically integrate new things that we do in our reality. Are we doing it effectively, or are we doing it as a coping mechanism? So if we do stuff as a coping mechanism, then we will not remove that initial resistance, but we'll rather do something in survival instead of actually changing. So this initial resistance point is quite interesting because it reveals a lot of dimensions that we can go into. But the main point I want to do in this short vlog is to just express how I myself experience initial resistance to many things during my day. Like, let's say there's dishes. First, I don't want to do it. Ugh, dishes. But I go and do it. And what I find is, as soon as I start doing it, it's actually quite fun. I just have to allow myself to create and be myself within doing dishes. And to see it as any other activity, such as dancing, walking. I'm using my body to do something. And then I have to remove, obviously, the thoughts, the experience that I've created through the thoughts that I've created about dishes, so that dishes can become an expression of me doing dishes. And the same with digging a hole, or walking the dogs, or going out to help someone else, do a favor for someone else. There's always this initial resistance. Or reading a book, or sitting in front of your computer and having to do other things. And I think the main reason for initial resistance is because somewhere along the line we confused doing things as work, instead of seeing that doing things is who we are. It's what we do things. And it's a matter of, is it practical? Is it best for me? Is it supporting my utmost potential? Is it pushing me to better myself? And it does better the world, creating the world a better place for everyone. So this initial resistance, I find, is also because I have not equalized myself with in and as the physical as movement, but where I've rather lived in the mind for so long that only when something is energy driven, a positive energy, then I feel I can move myself without resistance. Only then I feel I can do something, and then I believe that because there's no resistance, this is what I must do. Now, resistance, I'm not talking about like something that you really don't want to do. Like it's gonna be the end of the world if you do it. I'm talking about those small moments, that initial resistance. Sometimes when you walk into a situation, there is still a lot of resistance within what you're doing, but once you've pushed through that resistance, you come out a new person. You become someone else. There's a new part of you that you're discovering, that you're finding out is also here, and that you are not as limited that you've believed yourself to be. So the initial resistance is quite an interesting point to investigate, to always see that there's this little nagging resistance that is everywhere. And if that nagging little resistance is still present in things you've been doing for years or new things, it's a cool indicator to show you where you are and what you can align. Why have you not embraced a point? Why have you not expressed a point? Why have you made it something that's against you? And I believe in this world we create a lot of things against ourselves in our minds, instead of seeing it as opportunities to develop ourselves, to expand ourselves, and to learn to know ourselves, and to create ourselves. Most of all, creating ourselves, because that's what the process we're in is, to create ourselves. We must decide who we are going to be in this world as someone that lives what's best for everyone else and living up to our utmost potential. And within that, we can push ourselves to become that. And resistance, or this initial resistance, shows us, cool, there's a little point. You have to work on that point. So push through it and use this initial resistance and resistance in itself to cross-reference where you are. Check, why is there resistance? Go into yourself, self-investigate, and find out what is the resistance. Why is there still resistance? What is the separation? What is the fear? What is it that I have judged? What is it that I've created beliefs or opinions or ideas about? And let's push beyond those beliefs and create ourselves. Thank you.